Alright lads, it is the Metagoblin here and welcome to the 10 reasons why Oblivion is the greatest RPG game that ever was or ever will be, and of course why it completely surpasses Skyrim. Now don't get me wrong, I love both the games, but there's a reason why I've been playing Oblivion on and off for about 9 years now, pretty much ever since I was about 10 years old on the Xbox 360. Anyway, let's jump into it. Reason number 1, better character creation. In Skyrim you had the option to change your physical features and that was literally about it. The character creation felt extremely dumbed down and not strict to the classical RPG style when you had to get the dice out and roll for your stats. Obviously Bethesda wanted to attract more players to the franchise by essentially trying to make the game a simpler experience so that it could attract Call of Duty brainless knucklehead kind of people. In Oblivion, however, you had very extensive features to the character creation, first being the class creator, where you could choose about 7 skills to specialise in. This kind of made your character feel extremely more unique in comparison to Skyrim, and there's no wonder why this Oblivion class creation actually became a mod for Skyrim. You also had the option of birth signs, which is the Oblivion version of standing stones. Now in Skyrim they really messed up the standing stones, since you would only go for the first 3, the mage, the thief or the warrior, because you wanted to level up faster. Whereas the others were, they were completely neglected unless you had that certain ring item. However, in Oblivion you kind of chose one at the start of the game, and most of them gave some kind of bonus to your stats, or an interesting ability like invisibility or poison effects, that kind of thing. Reason number 2, more skills and attributes. In Skyrim you had 3 attributes which were basically just your resources. In Oblivion you have about 8 attributes which can give you certain bonuses, some of which gave fun and interesting advantages like speed increasing, how fast you could move and your jump length, agility given the ability to resist knockdowns, and obviously luck, which basically increased nearly every variable in the game, whether it was loot or whether your power attacks could cause a disarm. In Skyrim there are about 18 skills, 2 of which are I would argue they are completely useless, and they should have been merged into another skill tree. Like for instance, pickpocket should have gone into the sneak tree, and speech probably could have gone into the illusion one. Fair enough, Skyrim perk trees were a little bit more interesting than Oblivion, though they were incredibly flawed and sometimes extremely boring because all they did was give us some kind of mathematical increase. Whereas Oblivion gave you about 4 perks per skill. And it's fair enough, some of them were kind of boring, but some of them did give interesting advantages. In Oblivion, not only is there about 21 skills, but they worked properly, and none of them felt useless. Missing from Skyrim was my all-time favourite skill, the acrobatic skill, which increased your jump height. Now fair enough, it barely offers a combat advantage, but you could do some crazy shit like taking extreme shortcuts, vaulting over lava or summiting mountains, not to mention the ability to jump off the face of water. There was also an entire spell tree unique to Oblivion which was called Mysticism, which was kind of merged with another spell tree in Skyrim, but interesting spells were lost like the reflect damage spells. Overall the character features of Oblivion were a lot more extensive and definitely more interesting and fun to play. Reason number 3, more spells. In Oblivion there was 89 unique spell effects and probably over 300 purchasable spells. So and then you also got the kind of a Skyrim thing where you could find them in books and stuff like that. Certain ones that stand out are like effects like command humanoid or creature, which basically gave you the ability to make any mob in the game your companion, like not permanently, but if you kept tapping it up you could just make anyone your companion and just make any enemy fight for you and kill his friend. It was kind of fun. You've also got water walking, you had elemental shields, you have summonable armor, the ability to damage enemies' weapons or armor, the ability to increase your skills or attributes, health, fatigue, magicka, skill or attribute draining spells, the ability to charm people into liking you. There's millions, well not millions, but there's so many more effects, spell effects in Skyrim, in Oblivion compared to Skyrim. Reason number 4, spell and enchantment creation. The ability to create your own spells or enchantments really sets aside Oblivion to Skyrim in terms of creating a challenging and rewarding experience. You could combine any spell effect together, so if you want a shock damage spell, all that lightning flies out your hand, and then you can also have an absorb health spell with it, and then at the same time you can summon an Atronach at the target, and then maybe at the same time you can summon some armor for yourself. You know, you could just the combinations were quite literally limitless. You could also customize the magnitude, so the power of the spell, the area of the effect, and its duration. It's definitely one of the greatest features of the game. Reason number 5, a more compelling, immersive and lore-rich main storyline, guilds and quests. It goes without saying that the main quest for Skyrim felt extremely weak, especially since the guild quests were a lot better. It had an interesting setup, fair enough. Perhaps it's just my opinion, but I just found it quite boring overall. I also found that the last boss fight was a waste of time, since it was just like killing any other dragon in the game, and there was nothing unique about it apart from some rocks falling from the sky. The whole experience just didn't feel as epic or immersive or the end of a world scenario for me. In Oblivion, the threat of the world, end of a world, it's more believable because, and you feel like more of a hero. There are like these portals opening around Cyrodiil, and they're releasing armies of Daedric creatures and Durimora and stuff like that, and they're basically obliterating all the cities in Cyrodiil. And you felt like the fucking bee's knees when you went into these Daedric portals and closed the gate, and then at the end you'd get a sigil stone which would like enchant a piece of your gear. I mean, it was kind of scary. It's kind of a scary experience for a noob, and it just felt so much rewarding when you finally got out of that utter like shithole. Anyway, the enemies of the story were also a lot more evil than Skyrim. In fact, all the characters had a deeper development in the narrative of a story. The thing is, you know, you had dragons trying to invade the world. I mean, they didn't have any real purpose, did they? I mean, you know, it's just these dragons trying to invade the world. You know, why? At the end of the day, why were they trying to do that? You know, what were the motivations of the evil characters? Why did they want to prevent us as the protagonists? So, in Oblivion, you really understand what the enemies, the Mythic Dawn, you really understand what they're all about, what they're trying to do, and why they want to do it. Not to mention the tear-jerking ending and the plot twists of the Dark Brotherhood. And let's not forget the main character was voiced by Sean Bean. Reason number 6, the interface. The big problem with a Skyrim vanilla interface was simply that it was a complete console interface and a complete ball ache on a PC, whereas Oblivion had a proper normal PC interface which worked perfectly with a controller. It was basically the Sky UI mod. It was easy to use and extremely cohesive and efficient. Reason number 7, better combat. Yes, fair enough, the combat is a little low tech compared to modern games, but I honestly still prefer it to Skyrim's. And you have to bear in mind that, you know, this game is about 9 years old. What really stands out about Oblivion's combat was the ability to use magic no matter what you had in your hands. Magic was actually a separate function. So if you wanted to use a bow, a two-handed sword or a shield, but also dabble into a bit of magic, then by all means you can. It's important to note that with a high acrobatic skill you could also dodge attacks with a roll and attack while mid-air. Reason number 6, with mods, the game basically looks as good as Skyrim. Not only was there an E&B mod for Oblivion, but a complete graphical overhaul. Fair enough, the overall quality of the graphics is less than Skyrim, you know, 9 years more on it, you know, but from an artistic point of view, I still think the game looks extremely more beautiful than Skyrim. Reason number 6, a diverse setting. One of the main problems with Skyrim, and other games like Fallout and all that kind of thing, was that the world was mostly a frozen wasteland, which kinda bored me. Yes, I understand that the wasteland has a bit of variety, you know, as parts colder than others, and it's accurate to the lore, but compared to the countless different and unique environments of Oblivion, Skyrim's setting gets a little sickening. The great thing about Cyrodiil, where Oblivion is set, is that it's in the centre of Tamriel, so it has features from all the surrounding countries. You know, go north and you're in basically Skyrim. Go southeast and you're in the bogs of Blackmarsh. Go far west and you have the gorgeous coastlands of Hammerfell. Go south and you'll even see the dense forests of Valenwood. Overall, there is a huge variety of different environments, from different looking trees to different coloured earth. Reason number 10, the hand-to-hand skill. If you want to be a karate master, you want to be the next Bruce Lee in Oblivion, then you can. There is a unique skill which involves killing people with your fists, and it's called hand to hand. The great thing about this skill, you may think, oh well, that's never going to be as good as a weapon, but the awesome thing about it was the fact that it drains your enemy's fatigue extremely fast, which meant you can knock them down onto the floor and like stag them, so you can just like beat them up and kick them on the floor. You couldn't kick them, but you know, that kind of thing. Seriously lads, if I had all the time in the world and great internet upload speed, I would make this video probably hours and hours long and feature over 50 reasons, because I know if I put my mind to it I could easily figure out about 50 reasons why Oblivion is definitely the better game. So if this doesn't make you want to buy Oblivion, then I'm going to take a guess you're simply not an RPG fan, which is fair enough, or a complete marshmallow head. At the moment the game costs 5 more quid than Skyrim, 5 more pounds than Skyrim, which is probably for a good reason, you know, as this video has just explained. And the Game of Year edition is the same price as Skyrim's Legendary Edition, priced at 20 quid. So for 20 quid you're effectively buying the greatest RPG game that ever was or ever will be. I shit you not, the only game that has had competition with Oblivion will be The Witcher 3, and I've near enough played every single RPG game which has come out ever. Yeah, it's taken about 9 years for something as good as Oblivion to come out. I mean, I've started playing The Witcher. Witcher is really good. The Witcher doesn't have the great kind of characterization and the customization of Oblivion, but it also obviously has a better story. But anyway, in a summer sale soon, or whenever you're watching this video, I'd definitely pick this game up, since it will probably go down to a £5 or even less. In my lifetime I've owned the 3 copies of the game. My first copy was back in the day when I was a console player, then I bought it on the PC when I was a little older but lost my disc copy, and I bought it again on Steam in a sale without any regrets. Sorry about the Steam message there. I'm not going to cut that out because it can be asked to be recording this. This is undoubtedly the best RPG game that money can buy. You may not have that opinion, but I assure you many people share it with me. Anyway lads, my name is the Metagoblin, and until my next video, ciao!